Hey everybody, Devin with another video here. Today I want to talk about all the goals that I'm setting in January 2017, the brand new year, for two reasons. I like to hold myself accountable publicly for all the goals that I try to create. And number two, I think that the process of doing goals publicly and on YouTube might help other people who are trying to set goals. This is one of the most important things that I do. I've done it for a long time offline, but just started doing it in December online. And that kind of second reason, I really want to show people what I do to do my goals, because I think it's a large reason why I succeed at anything that I do in my life. And I also want to show the process so that maybe you can do the goals and you can maybe see how this affects you and the positivity that can come from your life if you try this. So in December, one of the major problems that I had in completing goals, I completed about 85% of my goals. The 15% I didn't were because I had no objective measurement of success. So what does that mean? It means if you say something like, let's meditate every day for 15 minutes. That's a very objective goal. You can understand how to pass or fail that goal. But if you say something like, speak better every day, well, that's not a very objective goal. What does better mean? Like, how do you define that? So in this January section, I've tried to really improve the way that I set my goals objectively. And I think this is a technique that we can all use to become really more successful, because you just get really specific about what you want to accomplish. You'll see what I mean here. So let's start off with the major outcomes. Every month I have 3 major outcomes that I want to complete. Only 3, no more, no less. I try to keep it pretty straightforward. The first goal is around content and branding, similar to last month where I had the same type of goal, but I've updated it. So I want to upload at least 25 videos this month. And I'd like to integrate the help that I'm getting from video editing into a successful system to create more videos and more micro videos around the self-improvement and personal development. So last month, I successfully completed the goal to get some help with these videos, which I desperately need. And this goal is about integrating that help and creating 25 videos, very objective measurement, that exact number or more, but not less. And post 77 pieces of Instagram and Facebook new posts. So why is it 77? Because I have a certain goal for the year that I believe, let me find it, it'll make sense. So my goal for the year is to get 10,000 followers on Instagram and 30,000 followers on Facebook. So that's 27 a day on Instagram and 75 on Facebook. And I want to do a total of 900 new Instagram posts and 900 new Facebook posts, because I think that's what it's going to take to get to that level. So that's about 2.5 posts per day. So 77 posts on Instagram and Facebook will take me a little bit above that 2.5 number, which is why it's about 2.5 posts a day. So that's why that number is that specific. The last part of that major goal is to hire a photographer. So I realized that my Instagram is terrible, and I was posting pictures of Christmas trees and all kinds of random stuff, landscapes and stuff. But if you want to have a really good Instagram, you need to have a theme, and my theme is self-improvement and personal development. So I'd like to get some high quality photography and some sort of studio level shoots so that I can, as a person, be representing a more professional brand, I guess, and maybe have like some quotes up there that are kind of inspirational, or just show better photography, which I think tends to attract people more to those images, because right now the images are pretty bad. So I want to update that. Okay, my second major outcome is in investment. I had a very successful investing month in December, and I'm planning to kick it up. So I want to maximize what's called a Roth IRA, which is a sort of tax-deferred account that you can have. I want to maximize my contributions for that in 2016. And I'd also like to invest additional money by January 30th of 2017. So that should be easily accomplishable. In fact, I've already done most of that on the beginning of this month. I think it's a pretty simple goal. Then finally for CLG, which is my third goal. That's a major part of my life, so I always try to make that one of my vital 3. Last month, I had a very general goal to just sort of like improve the business. And the business was good in December, but it didn't really do anything I could objectively measure. And I was like, how do I get this better? So I have a very specific plan to develop an offensive plan for Q1 and communicate it accurately to the staff, as well. And when I say offensive plan, I don't mean offensive like an insult. I mean like screw everybody here. Like, I mean, offensive, like a plan that puts us into action versus defense, which is like reacting to things that happen. It's like this is actually a plan that puts us into action. And then also to create a written plan to shore up one of our biggest problems in the company, which I don't want to say because of competition reasons, but there's an actual written plan to deal with that by January 15th, so mid-month. And then I have a couple of other goals that I unfortunately can't share on this video that are basically that specific. So those are the main three. So let's go into the secondary goals, some of which support those three and some don't. So the first secondary goal is to post my 2017 yearly goals and monthly goals in a place in my room. That's really easy, right? But I just have to go print it out and then place it in my room. I think I'm gonna place it on the wall that I look at every day that I meditate. So that way, like when I open my eyes and I close my eyes, I can look at my goals. Really simple goal, but it doesn't have to be like really complex. It's just if I get that goal done, I like to set some, I guess what I call low-hanging fruit because it's like really easy wins. And if you do that and you actually accomplish it, you're like, all right, I'm like on my way. I've accomplished one of my goals. And plus, sometimes small things can have a really big impact. And I think if I was looking at my goals every single day and understanding them, I would be accomplishing them a lot better. So it's something that I really want to try. The second secondary goal is to devote 1 hour a day or as necessary to development of my social calendar. So if you remember from my December goals, I have a calendar that I use on Excel that determines what kind of like Instagram or Twitter or Facebook posts that I want to make. And this goal is centered around spending 1 hour every day focusing on that calendar so that probably at the end of the day, so that I'm prepared and I can make consistent uploads and pieces of useful information for you guys. That's kind of ties into that 77 Instagram and Facebook posts. How the heck am I going to do that? Well, if I'm planning my social calendar and I know how many posts I'm going to make the day before, that's a good way to keep consistent with that goal. I think the 77 goal is insane. It's like a huge increase from what I've done before, but I like to set that goal really high and have some goals that I'm like be really proud to achieve or even get close to. I think if you sort of 10x your goals and you're like, how can I make this 10x bigger than I thought it would be? Then you'll be surprised if you fail, you might fail 80% towards your goal, whereas if you set it 10x less, you might only fail 5% towards that goal, and you'll actually be further along. You'll sort of fail forward, if that makes sense. Okay, number 3 is offense work and time management. So that means devoting at least 2 hours of my day, 5 days a week, completely to things that are not reactive. Not going into meetings. That's been a huge problem of mine, is that I've noticed that just like, if I probably, a lot of you guys that work, and if you work in like office jobs, you'll be in meetings all day. It'll be your boss will call you into meetings, or someone will get a meeting with you. And so one thing that I've noticed over December was I was like, I'm in meetings all the time. I have to stop doing this. And the best way that I know how to, because meetings are good, like you're solving problems, but it's very easy to get sidetracked. And oftentimes you're having a meeting because you're trying to react to something, right? You're not trying to be proactive. So I want to stop having meetings generally in the morning. So schedule all my meetings in the afternoon, and then that morning time is only focused on pushing forward the things that need to happen proactively to make the company get to the next level or get me to the next level. And that's how I'm going to spend my mornings. So this is a big goal of at least 2. Again, you have to make it objective. Everything in this is making it objective. How do we make it so that we can measure this? At least 2 hours, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Easily measurable, defined as completely uninterrupted, critical work to move goals forward. Super straightforward. Next is meditation. So I want to continue with my December goal. I want to do daily 15-minute sessions at least once every day of January. If I can do that, I think that I've said before, meditation is probably one of the biggest things that has moved my life forward. And if I can actually meditate 15 minutes a day, I think it's going to be fantastic for my self-development. So I want to keep that goal going. I think it's actually probably one of the most important goals that I have. The next goal is around intermittent fasting. So in December, I had an intermittent fasting goal to fast for 2 days. I'm going to do that again. I don't think I'm going to increase that goal. I just want to do another 48-hour fast. But I want to add to that every day I should do periods of fasting for 8 hours. So between the hours of 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. are the only hours I should eat. And the reason for that is it gives your digestive system a 16-hour break if you only eat in an 8-hour window, so no breakfast, just eat at lunch. That has a lot of health benefits that I've been reading about that I'm excited to try. And I generally don't like breakfast anyway, so I want to give this a shot and see what kind of effect it has on my metabolism and my energy levels. I noticed if I eat a really big breakfast in the beginning of the day, what often happens is I get tired and then I like want to fall asleep at like 2 or 3 a.m. or 2 or 3 p.m. It's normal to want to be asleep at 2 or 3 a.m. But 2 or 3 p.m. and I'm not as effective in my day. So I'm going to try that 8-hour period. So one fast and an 8-hour period. The next one is around confidence and speech development. Now, I had this goal in December as well. This is an improvement to that goal. I'm reading a book by Michael Porter called Steal the Show. And it's a book about public speaking. I'm trying to get better at speaking, not only for these videos, but also for the panels and the things that I do. So the goal for this is to finish the book and have a full note-taking book report. I want to actually write a book report on this book. I think it is such an incredible book. So I'm going to read it all the way through, then I'm going to read it again this month, and I'm going to take specific notes on what are the keys I want to take away from it that I can try to accomplish. So that's a way more objective way. I think my goal in December for that was like speak better and speak with more pauses. At least speak with more pauses is objective, but it's not measurable. So how many times did you do it? So this is really measurable. It's finish the book, write a book report. I think I'll be very far along practicing those principles throughout these videos. Since I'll be doing a lot more videos, I can practice every video, which is awesome. And then I'll also have some public speaking engagements because I'm going to PAX in January, so I'll have an opportunity to utilize these skills. My 7th goal is around reading. So I want to finish the Tim Ferriss book, Tools of Titans. I'm about 200 pages in. My girlfriend got it for me for Christmas. It is an absurdly good book. It is basically a Bible of self-improvement advice from all of the guests that Tim Ferriss has had. And it is really neat. It's super cool. So I want to finish reading that book as well as finish Steal the Show. Then by January 20th, I want to start a 3rd book because one of my main macro goals for this year is to read 12 books. Actually, it might even be more. I think it was to read 12 books in 2016. Let me check that. It's to read 20 books. So 1.6 books a month. So following that goal, I'll need to read those 2 books this month, and then I'll start a 3rd book by January 20th, and I should be on track for that. So notice that like you have daily goals that feed into your weekly and monthly goals. Your monthly goals feed into your yearly goals. And all these goals, like posting 77 images, that's not an arbitrary number. That number is so that you have goals that you can kind of equate to so you get up to your yearly result. Okay. Next, white space. So white space is my term for anything that takes you away from full productivity. If you're intending to work, you should just be working. You shouldn't be focusing on other stuff on your computer. And a big one for me, a really big one for me is Reddit. So Reddit, just a sec. Reddit has been a pretty big issue in my life in the past. I recently completely blocked it at the end of December, and it was one of the best choices that I made. I also blocked using Twitter except for posting, and I muted. You don't have to unfollow them because that's kind of like weird, but you can mute a bunch of people that are kind of posting irrelevant stuff on Twitter, and I didn't know this, and I'm using that now so that I can just focus on like good news or things that are about my industry or like information that I need to know that's like specific to my development or my growth. And I did the same thing on Reddit, actually. I unsubscribed from, I think, like 25 subreddits or something like that. And so when I do read it, the only way I can read it now is on my phone. I blocked it on my main computer through a program called Stay Focused. So because when I'm working on my computer, I don't want to be on it all. But sometimes if I'm like done with a day or something, then I can go on Reddit on my phone. And if I do, I'm only subscribed to about 10 subreddits now, and they're all about investing. That's all they are. They're all just about investing stuff. And I find those to be really helpful. So every time I'm on Reddit, I'm growing. Because like if you think about, probably if you're part of the demographic that is watching these videos, it's like gamers, like you probably have read Reddit, or maybe you read Reddit pretty consistently. And I challenge you, this is something that I did for myself, what made me finally decide to stop reading it, was I tried to think of like 3 or 4 meaningful things at the end of the day that I got from browsing r all. And I couldn't think of a single one. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like I'm spending an hour or something like wasting my time on this, and I can't remember anything that came from it. So it's useless facts, it's bullshit, and I just decided to eliminate it. I'm not saying that's like the right thing, I'm not saying you should do it, it's just that's what works for me. So that's a big thing. Completely blocking Twitter, same thing, like I said. Read a maximum of 15 minutes a day of purely growth-oriented knowledge. So that's the maximum that I can use, again, like objective measurement. And finally, on number 9, so I mentioned this in my content and branding, bring in a photographer. Like I said, I think we gotta say goodbye to the Christmas trees and the stuff that's on Instagram. Although I do like those memories, maybe I should keep them in like a Google photo album or something, and probably not on my Instagram. My Instagram is gonna get a little bit more serious with some more motivational content and stuff like that. So get a photographer to do at least 2 or 3 shoots this month. I have someone in mind. Some people who also help out with CLG, I'll probably pay them on my own dime, get a couple shots, photo shoots done, and then do some videos for that. So let's see if there's any other ones that are interesting. Sleep schedule, have the goal of being in bed by 10:30 p.m. every day on the week. That is pretty straightforward. Also, I mentioned eating already. My exercise routine, I just need to stay consistent with it. I've actually written it out. But it generally involves yoga 4 or 5 times a week and the gym at least 3 times a week, as well as jujitsu 3 times a week. So nothing new there. I've kept consistent with my workout routines. I don't really have a problem there. And then another goal around supplementation. In order to keep up with my physical fitness, I take a lot of supplements, not like bad supplements, but like stuff that's over the counter, like branched chain amino acids, CLAs, L-carnitines. I need to do a whole separate video on all the supplements I take, creatine, magnesium, stuff like that. I want to maintain supplements at proper dosages so that I don't run out of energy and I don't get tired in my workouts, because I'm going to the gym a lot. A lot of times I'm doing maybe 2 or 3 things a day to stay physically fit. And you need to have a lot of supplementation. You need to drink a lot of water to be able to do that. Otherwise, your muscles get really sore and you won't want to work out the next day. So one of the things that I want to stop doing is over-consuming content. I think a lot about like how much self-improvement content I'm absorbing. I read a lot, I watch a lot of YouTube videos, listen to a lot of podcasts, and I want to make sure that I'm using my time optimally to consume the kind of content that really has an effect on me and increases my ability to live my life, instead of just like doing it as a thing that just is a waste of time. So I'm just trying to be aware of that. I think it's a lot better use of time than other things. You could be doing all kinds of other things that aren't productive, but I want to make sure I'm not like listening to too many podcasts. I have a Sunday and Saturday walk where I go for like 2 or 3 hours and just walk. It's super good. And I listen to podcasts then. So I think that's like a really dedicated chunk of time. Gives me about like 5 or 6 hours every week to focus on that self-improvement content. And then when I'm cooking, I take a lunch break for like 30 minutes or an hour, and I'll watch some YouTube video. And so I think that's like enough. And I want to be like careful about like not adding any more. Let's see. Yeah, other than that, I think my main goals for this month are all centered around creating systems for content, the meditation, and making sure that I'm blocking out time to be on the offense and really think about what I want to do proactively to improve my life or to improve the company. And that's the number one thing I'm thinking about lately, is like the realization that if you spend your time thinking proactively about how to advance your life instead of reacting, like everybody reacts. And I'm going to do a whole separate video on this because like it's so important. Thinking about how you can move your life forward, spending even an hour on that a day is going to get you so much further than just reacting to all the negativity and all the stuff that's happening in your life. And that has been the biggest thing that I've learned in the last month, is that I need to dedicate time to that. So those are my January 2017 goals. Let's see how I do. Let's see how many I accomplish. Let's see how many I don't. It is currently January 1st as of the filming of this video. So I will do another one of these videos on the 30th or so, and we'll see how I did. Looking forward to it. Thank you all for watching these. I hope you've gotten some useful tips for how you goal plan and what you do. I will be sure to update this with the next video. If you liked this video or you got something out of it, please subscribe, comment, or like it in any way. That would help me out a ton. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you again for the next video next time.